bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, wide with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet
North Alabama is full of adventure. If you love food, we've got it. If you love festivals, we've got them. If you love the outdoors, we've got plenty of places to explore. Whatever you love, we're sure to have something for you. For all things North Alabama, check out northalabama.org.
It's bow time. You've probably heard folks say, don't call it a comeback. But at Bojangles, we don't like to beat around the bush. So when the sizzling, savory pork chop griller's back in all its tender, marinated, chili lime glory, and you can snap up 2 of them for $6, go ahead, call it a comeback. Get 2 legendary pork chop grillers for just $6, only at Bojangles. It's bow time.
With a house surrounded by pine trees planted in 1961, April and I knew it was time to do something about it. So we called James Paul. With over 25 years in the business, James Paul Tree Service offers their knowledge and experience, along with honesty and dependability, which gives you peace of mind when it comes to tree removal, tree cleanup, and clearing. Give James Paul a call at 256-777-0711.
Before they fall, give James Paul a call.
Boutique Air in Muscle Shoals, Alabama offers direct flights to Atlanta and Pensacola. Boutique Air service runs twice daily, 7 days a week, with fares starting at $59. Follow Boutique Air Muscle Shoals on Facebook at Boutique Air MSL and book your flight through boutiqueair.com. Boutique Air,
where you can fly private for the cost of commercial.
Hey everybody, this is Daryl Worley, and you're listening to The Mark White Show. Hey, step up and make a difference like he does.
Hey y'all, this is Jeff Foxworthy, and you can make a huge difference in somebody's life. You just may not have figured out how yet, and that's why you're listening to The Mark White Show.
Hi, this is Maggie Peterson. I played Charlene Darling on The Andy Griffith Show, and you are listening to The Mark White Show.
Hi folks, this is Ricky Skaggs, and you're listening to The Mark White Show.
Hello, I'm Gene Stallings, and this is The Mark White Show. Get off the sideline and get involved and make a difference in your community.
You are listening to The Mark White Show. My daddy is your host, Mark White.
welcome to another edition of The Mark White Show. I'm glad that you can be with us today as I have a very special guest, Gina Crawford. She is a children's book author from Athens, Alabama. Welcome to The Mark White Show, Gina.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So something very special is happening this week, and I know you wanted to share that with listeners about the Laura Ingalls Wilder Children's Literature Festival that's happening.
Yes, it's actually going on the 4th and 5th of this month, so this week. And Laura Ingalls Wilder is my very favorite children's book author. She has inspired me my whole life. 3 years ago, I just happened upon this article about the Laura Ingalls Wilder Children's Literature Festival. It was the first one, and it was to take place the next month. And so I thought, it would just be a dream to participate in something like that. And so I called them, and they were booked solid, of course. But the committee members took a look at my website and looked at some of my book readings and saw that I had written a bunch of books, and they called me back and said that they would make a place for me. And I was just absolutely thrilled. So I went that year. It was April of 2019, and had a wonderful time and did presentations. I met celebrities and I got to walk around her house and stand by the desk where she wrote her books, and it was surreal. Ever since then, they've invited me back, and they invited me back actually as a permanent author. So I'm going to do it every year, Lord willing. And so this year, due to COVID, I did a virtual presentation because I have a 2.5-year-old, and the airlines still require masks for toddlers, and she will not do that. She wouldn't even put on her Halloween costume the other day. So that was not going to happen. So I just did a video, and I'm trying to get some, recognition that way, and trying to sell more books, focus on that more. I haven't really been focused on the actual selling of them that much. I've just loved the creativity process and meeting people and entertaining kids and drawing and writing. I love all of that so much. Money has never been my focus, but I'm trying to do better about that, which sounds silly, but I am trying to do better because I want to do a lot of animal projects over the next year. So I've already started them, but I've got a lot of ideas coming up.
Well, let me ask you this, Gina. Did you connect with Nicholas Inman through the Laura Ingalls Wilder home?
I did. I sure did. He was one of the ones that invited me, actually, originally.
Excellent. I follow Nicholas on Facebook. We're friends on Facebook. And as a matter of fact, for my birthday on June the 12th, me and Cora and April went to the Laura Ingalls Wilder Historic Home and Museum, which you addressed there in Mansfield, Missouri. And I actually did an interview with Raylan Swopes in the home of Laura Ingalls Wilder. We were upstairs, and I did an interview with Raylan. It was really great. She was a kindergarten preschool teacher for 34 years, and she's an outstanding guide there at the museum. But we really enjoyed that experience, and it was really nice for me to be able to do that interview there in her home. That was a great experience for all of us.
Oh, I will look that up. I can't wait to hear that. I'm just mesmerized by things like that. So.
Well, I had one of her nephews on the show too. I've done a few things that connected to Laura Ingalls Wilder, and I enjoy that like you do. I appreciate that series. I think Cora said she's on book 5. April is reading to her every night, so they're on book 5 of the Little House series.
Oh, that makes me so happy. It makes me so happy.
And today started the Laura Ingalls Wilder week that you're part of, Gina. What was it about children's books? What was it about that area of writing that took you to that place?
That's a good question. I guess I've had an interest in it since I was a small child. And I have a new website that has a long story of the history of my writing, if anybody cares to look at that. And the website address is on my Facebook page, and because I don't have it memorized at the moment because it's new. But anyway, it goes through the whole story of my lifelong love of writing. So I started writing really in the 2nd grade. My parents gave me a journal, and I started filling it up with stories and poems and drawings, and just fell in love with that at that young an age. And even then, I was reading Laura Ingalls Wilder and Dr. Seuss, and I loved those books. And then through the years, I realized I had a talent for that, and majored into English in college and graduate school. And I've been teaching English and literature for 22 years now. And so it's just always been my thing. So I've almost can't remember a time when I didn't love it and didn't love Laura Ingalls Wilder. And I have every episode of the television show memorized, which of course is only partially based on fact, but there are a lot of truths in it. So it's just always been my thing. So I don't know if that answered your question or not.
No, it absolutely does, and that's what we've done with Cora. We watched the series, and then, as I mentioned, she's being read the books at night, and so she has the quotes from the TV show. Of course, Michael Landon had a vision for that, but then she takes what Laura Ingalls Wilder actually said in the books, and so she's getting a dose of that as well, and I'm glad that she's able to have what I consider wholesome material to be able to enjoy as a 7-year-old.
Absolutely. And Laura Ingalls Wilder paints pictures in our heads so beautifully. My favorite book is These Happy Golden Years, and Laura describes dating Almanzo and, going on a sleigh ride, or a lot of them actually. And so it's just hard for us to picture today, but it's just lovely.
Right now, we're talking to Gina Crawford. She is a children's book author. Glad to have her here on the Mark White Show today. And we're going to take a quick break, Gina, if that's okay. And then when we come back, we're going to talk more about Laura Ingalls Wilder Week and your participation, as well as your support of some very special animals, okay?
Sounds good.
All right, folks, I hope you'll stick with us as we continue this conversation with Gina Crawford. You are listening to The Mark White Show, and I'm your host, Mark White.
A little wink, a pat on the back, a big old hug, a little laugh. We can make a difference. All we have to do is try. Yeah, every day's a chance to change somebody else's life. Let's all do something good today.
It's bow time. You've probably heard folks say, don't call it a comeback. But at Bojangles, we don't like to beat around the bush. So when the sizzling, savory pork chop griller's back in all its tender, marinated, chili lime glory, and you can snap up 2 of them for $6, go ahead, call it a comeback. Get 2 legendary pork chop grillers for just $6, only at Bojangles. And it's bow time.
North Alabama is full of adventure. If you love food, we've got it. If you love festivals, we've got them. If you love the outdoors, we've got plenty of places to explore. Whatever you love, we're sure to have something for you. For all things North Alabama, check out northalabama.org.
Experience the difference at Athens Bible School. The vision and purpose is to provide each student a quality education in a Christ-centered environment to develop the whole person spiritually, mentally, physically, and socially in safe and supportive surroundings. The solid biblical foundation permeates learning and culture in the classrooms and every extracurricular activity.
Thompson Roofing and Construction is a locally owned family business serving the North Alabama and Southern Tennessee area. They are a Better Business Bureau A+ member since 2011 and a GAF Master Elite contractor. Give them a call at 256-952-3309 or check them out on the web at 256roofing.com. They offer free inspections.
Thompson Roofing and Construction.
With over 25 years in the business, James Paul Tree Service offers their knowledge and experience, along with honesty and dependability, which gives you peace of mind when it comes to tree removal, tree cleanup, and clearing. Give James Paul a call at 256-777-0711.
Before they fall, give James Paul a call.
Mr. Cecil Batchelor is the one that started this business as Dependable Service Center. And even though now it's Green's Dependable Hardware and we're a True Value store, our tagline is still Your Dependable Service Center. We've tried to keep that alive for all these years. Mr. Batchelor really started a good business. We're really excited to be carrying on a long-standing tradition. It's the oldest retail store in the city of Russellville. We're Green's Dependable Hardware, 15220A Highway 43 in Russellville, Alabama. We're right behind McDonald's or right across the street from the hospital. Number is 256-331-0123.
Your Dependable Service Center.
Hi, I'm Crystal Gale, and you're listening to The Mark White Show. And one smile can make a difference. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Someone loves you, I do.
He drives into the city, works extra hard all day, finishes up early so he can get away. 'Cause there's a blue-eyed kid on second base, wants dad to watch him play.
Welcome back to the Mark White Show. I'm very glad to have this special guest with me on the line right now. Her name is Gina Crawford, and she's a children's book author. Welcome back to the Mark White Show, Gina.
Thank you, Mark.
So tell us about your books. What have you written so far? What can people look for when they go to look for Gina Crawford's children's books? What can they find?
I've actually published 8 books so far, but I've written dozens. So this will be a lifelong, project for me. So, but the book that I read for the Children's Book Festival this week is called Caitlin's Broken Leg and Unbroken Spirit. And it's a true story about my best friend's little girl as she broke her leg, and her attitude about it was just amazing to me. And if I had broken my leg, I would have been just a spoiled sport about it, and just felt sorry for myself and lay up in the bed for weeks. And she wasn't like that at all. I mean, she did the normal thing where she cried and it hurt, and it was very difficult, but she put a smile on her face, and she was at school and encouraged kids to sign her cast and did fun things with her friends, and went to her dance recital even though she couldn't dance, and she cheered on her friends. It was just a sweet little story. So that's the book that I read for the festival this week, but there are lots of others as well. And mainly I like to write in rhyme, and my books are varied in topics. I am inspired by life in general. There are always stories popping in my head, and I heard an interview with Paul McCartney one time, and I'm certainly not comparing myself to him at all, but he was talking about how he has had song lines just pop in his head, and he would have to write them down immediately or they would go away. And I can't count how many times I've done that, and I think of Paul McCartney every time. I'm like, oh, there's one. And so I'll write it down, and then it will turn into a book, or, I'll see something in my family or hear a story or something that'll inspire me. So there are lots of books out and lots of books to come. So
I've had a couple of authors on the program recently. One was Hannah Wilson. She wrote Charlie May's First Day. That was about her little girl who's in a wheelchair and nonverbal, talking about how Charlie May interacts with other children and the fact that she wanted Charlie May to be incorporated into the group and part of the group. Books like that give us a special understanding of special needs. And then also Clayton Martin, he wrote a book called I Love You More Than Me, and it was about a friendship that his little daughter has with another young man, and he's special needs as well. And when we can get to those stories that actually have a meaning in them like that can help us as people, I think especially for children, when they hear those stories and they see children who may look different than they are or sound different than they are, but then say, you know what, when I see a person like that outside of this book, I'm going to treat that person as a friend. I'm going to love them and care about them.
That's right. That's right.
How do you want people to support this effort for Laura Ingalls Wilder Week and beyond, to support Gina Crawford children's books?
Well, Mark, the main mission I have with my books, other than just to, delight audiences and have fun writing and illustrating and entertain and all that obvious stuff, is I want to help animals with my books. And I have felt such a strong calling about this from day one. And so I've already started doing volunteer projects that involve things like getting people together and donating needs to animal shelters and adopting strays and teaching people what to do with a stray. If you find one, don't turn a blind eye. And there's so many different ways to help animals, and educating about spaying and neutering, because we have a huge overpopulation of animals in the world. And there's no reason for it. All you have to do is spay and neuter your pet. I want to have resources in place to help people who can't afford that, and I read an article about a shelter, I think it was in Hawaii, and they have such a good network there. They put up for adoption their last animal in the shelter, and he went to a very good home, and their shelter was empty, and there's no reason that can't be true here as well. So, but I'm going to advertise a lot of animal projects on my Facebook page, Gina Crawford's Children's Books Facebook page. So if people could go like the page and invite other friends to like my page, then they can be kept up with all the projects coming up. So that would be extremely helpful. So, and helping is so easy. I don't make it hard. I mean, it could be literally, you could help an animal in 5 minutes, the way that I'm going to set up some volunteer projects. So it's going to be super easy and inexpensive, and there's no downside to it.
So right now for listeners, we're leading them to Gina Crawford's children's books on Facebook. And then those who don't do Facebook, where can they go?
They can go to my website. Actually, I can just I'll put it on your page. That's probably the easiest way to do it because it's a long address and I do not have it memorized. I'm sorry.
No, that'll be fine. So what I'm telling people right now, after this show, go to the Facebook page on The Mark White Show, as well as when you see this audio clip, I'm going to add the website to the message that I normally add with the show. So you'll be able to see the website, the Wix website for Gina, and you can go straight to that through SoundCloud, Audio Boom, all those different places, those platforms where I'm able to share information about Gina. So take a look at that, and you'll be able to find the website. And then, of course, if you're on Facebook, Gina Crawford's Children's Books, and support this effort. Gina, it's a real pleasure to have you on the show today to share about this effort.
Thank you, Mark. I enjoyed it so much.
Excellent. That's what I want to hear. And Gina is participating in the Laura Ingalls Wilder Children's Literature Festival. And I want to give a shout out to the Laura Ingalls Wilder Home and Museum, Nicholas Inman, Ray Lynn over there. A shout out to our friends in Mansfield and our friends at Baker Creek Heirloom Seed Company as well, who are nearby. So if you get a chance to go to Mansfield, I encourage you to go to Laura Ingalls Wilder Home and Museum and then go over and check out Baker Creek Heirloom Seed Company. Again, thank you for joining me, Gina Crawford.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it so much.
Absolutely. Here on the Mark White Show, we're recognizing difference makers like Gina Crawford and others, and I want you to share this show with your friends, your family, and your neighbors. Let them know about the Mark White Show and what we're doing to make a difference in our communities. You can follow the Mark White Show on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn, and subscribe to the Mark White Show podcast via Apple iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Audio Boom, SoundCloud, Blueberry, YouTube, and TuneIn Radio. You have been listening to another edition of the Mark White Show, and this is Mark White, encouraging you to find your purpose by making a difference in someone's life today.
Who live and love in my hometown. These are my kind of people.
Located in Tuscumbia, Alabama, the Alabama Music Hall of Fame honors Alabama's music achievers. You can even go into the recording studio and try out your talents as a singer. That's the Alabama Music Hall of Fame, located at 617 Highway 72 West in Tuscumbia, Alabama. Open Tuesday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Give them a call at 256-381-4417. Check them out on the web at alamhof.org. Boutique Air in Muscle Shoals, Alabama offers direct flights to Atlanta and Pensacola. Boutique Air service runs twice daily, 7 days a week, with fares starting at $59. Follow Boutique Air Muscle Shoals on Facebook at Boutique Air MSL and book your flight through boutiqueair.com. Boutique Air,
where you can fly private for the cost of commercial.
Is it time for a haircut? Give my friend Philip Butler at Southwind Barbershop a call, located in Rogersville, Alabama. You can call him at 256-247-5658. Make an appointment or just walk in. That's Southwind Barbershop in Rogersville, Alabama.
Oh, won't you hear me, people, when I say, well, let's all do something good today. Something good today.